This is only the beginning, for I am going to tell you a story of broken people, beautiful people. He is so sorry about what he did to them.
Welcome back everybody to another episode of the Explained series. I'm very happy to be back. And first off, I'd like to thank you guys for almost 6,000 subscribers. We're at like 5,900 right now. It's pretty crazy, and I know that my 16-year-old self, this guy right here, this man would go crazy. This man would go insane. But honestly, I couldn't be more thankful for all of you guys just tuning in to watch. It truly means a lot. Thank you. But as far as where I've been personally, I stay awake late at night contemplating my own existence. But anyway, in today's video we will be diving deep into the lore of the Walten Files. Now, the Walten Files is a video series created none other than Martin Walls. And if you haven't checked out his channel, I highly suggest you do, as his videos are incredibly well done and very, very creepy. And as for the videos that contribute to the lore, those will be listed in the description below. I created a little playlist, and then I also included this video so that once you watch the videos that contribute to the lore, you can hop right back into this video and then we can explain the lore together. Oh crap, oh no, oh god, oh god. Something's coming. Hi, I'm a disclaimer. As a disclaimer, I'd like to say that Wildman212 has not watched any other theories on this series of lore. And as a disclaimer, I have one message. Wildman212 has not watched any other theories on this series' lore, and I'm going into this, Wildman212 is going into this with no other research than his own. Thank you. Thank you, disclaimer. You're truly a hero to the channel. Alright, now we can finally get into this creepy lore. Put your seatbelts on, lay down, I don't know. Do something wild before you watch this video, because after you watch this video, you will not be the same. I can guarantee that to you. And yes, enjoy.
You must be so confused about what you saw. Don't be scared, my little bunny.
The lore behind the Walten Files is well crafted and currently unfolding as we speak.
And if he says that from the looks of it, some unused animatronics, I guess?
We have characters yet to be seen, a founder who's been missing for years, and a woman whose fate has already been sealed. I've found myself often disturbed at times at the episodes of the Walten Files, yet oddly fascinated by the overarching lore which is clearly taking place. Death, betrayal, curiosity in the face of evil. Who is truly puppeteering these horrific events, and who is truly behind the incident of 1974? A user by the name of Psy05 comments on every single canon episode, leaving encoded clues for us to solve. While Anthony is the one uploading these videos, Psy05 knows something that Anthony and ourselves don't. A trail of breadcrumbs is being left, leading to the true lore of the Walten Files, and it's up to us to solve it. 1974 is where our breadcrumb trail begins. So to quickly lay out the videos that contribute to the Walten Files lore, they are the following. So to start things off, we will be starting with the company introduction video, which has 3 distinct tapes inside of it. Inside this video we have the introductory tape, an episode of Bond's Neighborhood, and Brian Stell's personal tape. However, as of right now, we will be focusing solely on the introduction tape, and then we'll leave the other 2 tapes for later on in the timeline.
But first, here's a message from Jack Walten and Felix Kranken, our beloved founder.
In the introduction tape, we have Jack Walten and Felix Kranken, who are the founders of Bond's Burgers, and the restaurant is opening in a few weeks. The tape serves as a guide to employees on how to clean and repair the robots in the restaurant.
Bond, Shaw, Buzu and Banny, a computer-animated band made by BSI to entertain children. As a technician, you'll be given the role of a facility caretaker.
The robots in the restaurant are entertainers, as they say. However, the restaurant does have a dark secret, one hidden deep in the woods, in St. Juana's Forest, to be exact. A private location, aka Storage Facility K9. The K9 facility serves as a company project to store all valuable items from the closed-for-good Bond's Burgers restaurant. It states, given the situations about the incident inside the 1974 Bond's Burgers location, any type of props, animatronics, and arcade machines will be carefully moved, inspected, and secured inside the bunker located deep down in St. Juana's Forest, for good. And the company employs a facility caretaker who will take care of securing the facility. After the intro tape, we receive a distorted message. That if we put in reverse, says this.
You finally start to remember. That's all day. They will be back for you soon, Sophie.
The next tape that we're going to be taking a look at is an episode of Little Bond's Neighborhood, titled Bond's Sleepover. An animation made by Sarah Evelyn in 1979, 5 years after Bond's Burgers opened. Within the animation, Bond has a sleepover with Billy, Banny, and Shaw. Buzu is not present. All of them on the couch, and they play a tape, which lets out a message on the screen. Once all the robots are asleep, Bond wakes up, and he walks up to the TV. Then he sees Jack Walton is missing, and if we turn on closed captioning, it reveals that Jack Walton was last seen June 11th, 1974, the same year the restaurant opened. Then Bond proceeds to pick up a lighter and turns into a girl named Sophie with a robot Bond hovering over her. Now I do want to ask something of the audience, of you watching this video. I want you to remember this girl named Sophie because she will be important. And as we progress further into the lore, our timeline will begin to make more sense. In the description of the company introductory tape, we have 3 messages laid out for us. One from Anthony, one from Scio5, and one from Martin Walls. This is a compilation of tapes created by the already extinct Bunny Smiles company. I tried to get as much info as I could about what these tapes are, but all I could find was that these tapes were handed to new employees back in, 1974, 1979. As for the rest of the tapes, they seem to be recorded by a new facility caretaker in the year 1982. Hopefully I can find more tapes soon. Anthony. However, as for the message by Scio5, it was encoded using an encryption method called Base64. Luckily, I was able to find a comment that gave me the encryption method, so shout out to both Bongos Casual and Shadow Reaper. It reads this.
The first pieces of the puzzle have been placed. The puzzle is far from a solution, however. Be wary of the hints that appear over time. One misdirection can throw off the course of this entire puzzle forever.
Bongos was also quick to point out that if you decrypt Scio5 using the same encryption method, it translates to K9, also known as Bond's Burgers Storage Facility, A9. And finally, a message from Martin Walls himself, encoded in binary. See you in the back doors. Next, we'll be looking at the unlisted video, Lucky You, with the description that reads,
The story of Bond's Burgers goes back to 1958, where 2 college students had the same idea of animated performers. Their names were Jack Walton and Felix Kranken, founders of Bond's Burgers. It took them 16 years to actually execute this concept. By that time, Kranken and Walton had built their own families. Felix married a beautiful lady, and Walton was not only a great husband, but also the happy father of 3 beautiful children.
Now what unfolds before us is the rise and fall of the Bond's Burgers restaurant. We see the restaurant's opening day and its first birthday party. And finally, we see the day the restaurant was condemned. October 31st, 1974, Halloween. Bond is seen peering out of the now abandoned restaurant. Condemned. Condemned meaning that there were goods found to be, or believed to be, unfit for human consumption. Jack Walten and Felix Kranken, friends in college, associates in their adulthood. However, there is one crucial fact that we must include. Jack Walten went missing before the restaurant even opened. Jack Walten went missing June 11th, 1974. The restaurant opened 17 days later, June 28th, 1974. Lucky You gives us a look at the tag numbers each robot is assigned. June 11th, 1974, the day Walten went missing. K9 is speaking directly to the audience in the same way they leave clues in the comments section of videos.
You must be so confused about what you saw. Don't be scared, my little bunny. Answers will be given eventually, but don't try to solve this puzzle only with the pieces you have so far. This is only the beginning. For I'm going to tell you a story of broken people, beautiful people. He is so sorry about what he did to them, but there's nothing he can do. Remember that. Safety and pills, Sophie. Safety and pills, Sophie. Safety and pills, Sophie. Safety and pills, Sophie. Safety and pills, Sophie.
Safety and pills, Sophie. Sophie Walten, a relative or spouse of the missing founder, Jack Walten. And Sophie is the same woman that we saw in Bond's sleepover episode, with Bond standing over her. Our next video, titled Relocate, has 4 tapes inside of it, tapes 1 through 4. And as we dive deeper into this lore, we will find out more clues as to who Sophie actually is. Chronologically, tape 1 is the first in our timeline. This tape takes place July 2nd, 1978, and is given to us by the closed captioning. And at this point in time, BunnySmiles Incorporated has been completely absorbed by Felix Kranken, given the disappearance of his associate, Jack Walten. However, Jack has been completely disassociated from the brand as a whole, as we see the photograph they shared. However, this time, Jack is cut out. BunnySmiles Incorporated, a company by Cyberfun Tech, 1978. It's now been 4 years since the disappearance of Jack Walten, as well as the incident of 1974. Which we can assume caused the shutdown of Bond's Burgers, which we still lack information about. In a filing cabinet, we see files on corporation plans. They have a file labeled Bond's Burgers dated June 28, 1974, created by Jack Walten. A file named Storage K9 dated January 23, 1975, by Felix Kranken. A file labeled Relocate by Felix in 1975. The Relocate project has been under development for around 3 years by none other than Felix Kranken. Merch has been put out and so were TV shows, as well as an arcade game that we will soon learn more about. All animatronics are being moved to the K9 facility we saw in the training tape. Felix Kranken, the only remaining founder. Walter has quite literally been cut out of the picture. July 9th, 1978. At the beginning of the tape, we get a look at the BunnyFarm arcade game, created by BunnySmiles Incorporated. Keep this arcade game in mind, as it will be important as we progress through the lore. This tape serves as a guide for facility caretakers.
Caretakers to have all needed equipment in hand and to always wear the BunnySmiles uniform.
All caretakers are required to wear their assigned BunnySmiles uniform and equipment. So from this we can deduce that Sophie, who appears in the Bond sleepover episode, was a K9 facility caretaker as well as a relative to Jack Walten. The tape then goes over the required items caretakers must have with them.
Check the items you will require for your job at K9. Lantern? Check. Snacks? Check. Key? Check. Camera? Check.
An animation version of Shaw guides the entire video. However, as she leaves the resting room, a silhouette appears behind her.
Three doors. These are storage areas. The first door is used to save any kind of cleaning items and supplies. The second door is used to save any kind of prizes and merch that was available in a Bond's Burgers restaurant. The third door is used to hide.
The first is cleaning supplies, then merch, and the final door is used to hide. Then it cuts out. Shaw takes us to the basement, then to the animatronic room, where we see Bond, Buzu, Banny, and Shaw. However, as Shaw leaves the room, she begins to glitch, and distorted dialogue comes from inside of her.
Welcome to the basement.
And if we reverse this clip and slow it down to 80%, we get this.
Rosemary would go to the restaurant every night hoping that his beloved husband would reappear after being missing for weeks, but no response until one day she heard a voice saying, "I know where she is, Rosie," coming from the backstage.
Then a little later, we get this scene.
Sophie, where am I? By the time the lady entered the backstage, as the voice told her to, missing husband wasn't there. Instead, she found a rat.
Rose broken will fix you. You will beautiful. You will beautiful. You will beautiful.
Bond tells her that she will be beautiful. Then he kills her, cuts up her body, and puts her into the Shaw robot. And once again, the silhouette we saw at the beginning of the tape appears. The woman who was killed is Rosemary, wife of Jack Walten. After her husband went missing, she lost a part of herself and went to the restaurant every single night, hoping one day he would show up. But instead, one fateful night, she was killed by Bond and stuffed inside the Shaw robot. However, one detail remains, one small detail. Sophie had a part in the death of Rosemary. Rosemary follows the voice because she believes it is Sophie's voice, as she says here.
Sophie, where am I?
But instead, she finds Bond, who kills her. Now there are three possibilities to what happened that night. The first, Sophie lured Rosemary to the backstage, where she had Bond kill her. Second, Bond has already killed Sophie and is using her voice to lure Rosemary to the backstage. This is unlikely. Or the final option, Sophie's inside the Bond robot, luring Rosemary in with her voice and killing her with the suit of Bond. One way or another, Sophie was involved in the death of Rosemary, Jack Walten's wife. It is also worth noting that Jack Walten and Rosemary Walten are husband and wife. The two have 3 children, and Sophie's last name is Walten. It is likely that Sophie Walten is the daughter of Rosemary Walten, so it is very possible that Sophie Walten killed her own mother, chopped her up into pieces, and stuffed her inside a Shaw robot. July 12th through the 14th, 1978. The tape revolves around 3 Bunny Smiles technicians who have volunteered to stay 3 days inside the K9 facility to reprogram the robots for the Relocate project created by Felix Kraken. The employees are Hillary B., Ashley P., and Kevin W. Ashley proceeds to tell her colleagues a little about the state of the facility.
Cases occurred around the area. Huh, yeah. And there were complaints from people that lived near the restaurant about the place playing music during midnight, like 2 or 3 in the morning, along with the lights on, which was weird, because back then the company didn't really worry about hiring night guards. But yeah, the place closed after people reported hearing the screams of an adult woman inside of the restaurant.
That woman was Rosemary Walten, as she was being killed by Bon. It is also worth noting that the last day Bon's Burgers was opened, they only let 1 or 2 families in, and the robots were gone and the curtains were closed.
The last day Bonds was open, they only let like 1 or 2 families in. And they mentioned later that the animatronics, like the entertainers, were completely absent and the curtains were closed.
3 then venture inside the facility where they find the robots left in ruins.
Eye sockets are really damaged. Almost as if someone did this intentionally.
The damage to Bon's eyes was perhaps left by Rosemary, as she fought to stay alive, yet unfortunately lost the battle. The robots are left torn and broken as Cyberfund Tech revised them after noticing irregularities in them. However, all in all, the reprogramming of the robots was unsuccessful.
Bad news, the programming phase was unsuccessful.
But Ashley is unfortunately filled with curiosity and wants to know why Bunny Smiles Incorporated gave them a single key.
Hey guys, this is Ashley. I am using the camera because I am planning to find where this key leads to. I'm sure whatever this key hides could save the project. I will show this footage to you guys once you wake up. I know you guys told me not to wander around, but I genuinely think this small key could be a lifesaver.
So Ashley gets up while her peers are sleeping and discovers that the key unlocks the back doors.
It took me a while, but I realized the key leads to this door, labeled back doors.
Calling back to the encoded message left to us by Martin Walls in episode 1. See you in the back doors. As she explores the dark facility, she opens door after door until she reaches the final one. And what lies behind the door is a clown robot, Billy the robot, who happens to have a cassette player. And Ashley is able to find the corresponding cassette. The clown begins to sing a variant of the Happy Birthday song, but then glitches and says 5 names.
Jack, Susan, Charles, Rosemary, Sophie.
Jack, Susan, Charles, Rosemary, Sophie. Then Bond kills Ashley and puts her into the clown robot, like he did to Rosemary. And based on the 5 names the clown says before Ashley's inevitable demise, we can conclude that this is Jack Walton's family. Shortly after Ashley's death, distorted audio plays that, if we adjust, says this.
The blind fortune teller spoke with knowledge, but never with content.
Perhaps a riddle, or perhaps foreshadowing to a future episode. Nevertheless, I am unable to solve this one. Then we get a message on screen that appears for a little less than a second.
They left the next day. They thought Ashley left early, but she was in the back doors, screaming as much as she could, but no one heard the screams. The following days, the caretakers would complain about an awful smell coming from the back doors, but he decided to shut down the facility until new advice. The relocate project was unsuccessful. Ashley is still there, but she's not screaming anymore. She saw something she wasn't supposed to see. Now, she's beautiful, she's beautiful, she's beautiful.
August 13th, 1978. 1 month after the death of Ashley. In the canine facility, there's already someone new inside testing out the facial expressions of Banny. And inside the robot that is Banny lie a face. But the real question remains, whose face is inside Banny? And who is tinkering with the facial expressions? Could it be the other 2 technicians, Hillary and Kevin, who were called back to the facility? Or anyone else who might know about Ashley's demise? Next, we get a glimpse of the BunnyFarm arcade game featuring Banny trying to escape an inescapable room. The rabbit is starving. Then Banny cries and cries, tears of blood. 3 bunnies are shown behind Banny. Then we see a purple bunny in a cage. October 10th, 1982. 4 years after our last tape in 1978, and 8 years since Jack Walten went missing in 1974, we have a new facility caretaker, Brian Stells. Brian is sent to the facility by a man named Chris. Chris tells him that the place hasn't been working since 1978, the year Ashley was killed.
Anyway, so Chris told me this place hasn't been working since about 78, 79, somewhere around then, and that was 4 years ago, I think.
He goes inside and says it smells horrible. And this is perhaps due to the fact that Ashley's now rotting corpse is still inside of Billy the Clown. Bon begins to cry tears of blood, and the tape cuts out. While Brian is able to escape the facility, Bon still manages to catch him. Then a blonde woman appears on screen. So as to who this might be, we still lack sufficient evidence. The only blonde character that we know is Hillary B., the other technician. However, a correlation in hair color is a bit of a stretch to conclude whether this is her or not. The story of the Walten Files revolves around two college roommates. After coming up with the same idea of animated performers, they decided they would work together. The decision two boys made in college created a butterfly effect that would go on to lead to the deaths of countless people. After years of planning, the two now married, Jack with kids and Felix with his wife, they finally created Bon's Burgers. However, Jack went missing 17 days before the restaurant even opened. Felix Kraken was left to run the business on his own, and for a short while, the business was successful. However, less than a month after Bon's Burgers opened, the restaurant was condemned, forced to shut down. Something happened those last few days of business that forced the restaurant to shut down. The incident of 1974, an event that we still lack information on. Perhaps the incident was the death of Rosemary, who wandered the halls inside the restaurant, waiting for her husband to come home, but was killed and put inside the Shaw robot by Bon, after being lured in by the voice of her own daughter, Sophia. But something tells me something else happened that year that forced Felix to shut down the restaurant. As time went on, Felix plotted the return of the restaurant through a plan he called the Relocate Project. Robots lie dormant inside the canine facility as Felix plans for the future. 3 caretakers are sent to the facility in order to fix up the robots for the Relocate Project. However, they are unsuccessful, and one of the technicians, Ashley, is killed and put inside Billy the Clown. The Relocate Project is a failure. Years pass and it is now 1982. Brian Stells enters the facility as a caretaker, but is killed by Bon. And there's one more thing to note. Bon is now free, and Brian let him out. Previously trapped within the walls of the canine facility, Bon now roams free. Wow, thank you so much for watching. And if you made it to the end, huge thank you to you. And please remember to subscribe if you made it this far, and remember to like this video. It definitely helps me so much. This is a growing channel. We only have 5,900 as of now, which is honestly a lot, but if we're gonna keep growing, please subscribe. Hey, and if you like this video, I also have another 2-part series where I explain Harmony and Horror, another VHS series where I uncover the true lore. But yeah, that will be in the description, and it will also be at the end of the video in the that little square thing where you click it and it takes you to the playlist. But I do have something that I want you guys to do. I want you to comment which robot is your favorite. Personally, mine's is Bon because he's literally a savage. Look what he did to Rosemary. Look what he did. He's literally a savage. But yeah, can we get an F for Rosemary in the chat, please? F for Rosemary. F. But yes, that is everything. Thank you for your time. I truly appreciate it. Have a good night, or have a good day, or have a good evening if that is the time for you. But yeah, I've said all I had to say. I'll see ya. Bye.